Good morning, everyone. Here we had a great AMA last night with WAGMI. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Shiba Inu a little bit. Of course, we're going to break down the overall crypto market and see where we are. And it's been a lot of trading sideways. I'm going to talk about that and some future updates later today that'll come out in the morning. But we're still here. We're still looking for opportunities, even though we've been for really all of 2022. So. Good morning to everybody out there. Make sure you hit that like button on your way inside. Good morning, Steve. How you doing? Steve, you're one of the people who've been here for a very long time. So I appreciate you, man. Really do. Boca, what's going on? Good morning. Chris, let's make some money. I like that, man. Definitely, Chris. What's up, Luke? Powell says 50 basis points is on the table. Aftermarket was looking good yesterday. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. In fact, I think I liked a tweet. Let me go back into my likes here. Let's see where it is. I want to break down a few of these things I liked, actually. Here it is right here from Lark Davis. So, yeah, on the Fed stuff, we're going to wait and see what happens in May. I mean, a lot of things are just kind of hinging upon what the Feds are going to do with rates and how that's going to affect the overall markets, not just crypto, by the way. It's the markets at large, really. And it's interesting because the crypto market has been following the traditional market a lot closer here in 2022. A lot of that has to do with new adoption, new people coming into crypto. It's not as nuanced or new as it used to be. It's still very early, obviously. We talk about that as well, but maybe it is maturing a little bit, and that's why it's following traditional markets a little closer. But Lark right here had a really good comment here. He says the Fed chief has indicated a likely rise of 0.5% for interest rates in May, bringing rates to 0.75% with inflation at 8.5%. This still would mean a real negative interest rate of 7.75%. Ouch. And then he finishes the tweet by saying, opt out, buy Bitcoin. Because, traditionally, we've always said Bitcoin is and should be a hedge against inflation, right? So we're really going to see if that comes to fruition. And if and when a lot of people do move to Bitcoin, do you think? Let me know down below or in the live stream chat here. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think as things get worse as it relates to inflation, do you think more people will come into crypto? Because that kind of happened a little bit during the pandemic, right? Where a lot of people, I know, you had the stay-at-home narrative too, but I think a lot of people, and they had time. I get that. But a lot of people looked at the financial system as somewhat broken, right? And are looking for new paths. They're looking for new ways to store their wealth. They're looking for new ways to make money. Let's face it, you can't find the gains that you can find in crypto in the stock market. Even during a bear market, there are new launches and new ways to make money. Passive income can be had via staking, right? There are so many ways that you can make much, much more money in crypto than the stock market. Is it a big learning curve? Yes. Does it take time to, get there? Yes. Will you probably get wrecked along the way? Yes. But if you, stick to it, there are so many ways to, make money in crypto. The other real big one, and I'm still learning a little bit about this, is yield farming, right? This is another way. Mining. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go about it. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see who else we got in chat. Let's see. Good morning, Huey. How we doing? John, whatever happened to Mononoke Inu? Yeah, that one got pretty bad pretty quick. I never covered that one on the channel. It was always kind of a little fishy to me, so never covered that one. Anyone else excited for what the Dogelon Mars price action will look like today with the birthday celebrations? Yeah, that's interesting. We can go over and take a look at some of the charts here, guys. Make sure you hit that like button here on your way in. WAGMI. Wow, what an AMA last night. We popped up into the $20 million market cap range again last night. What a great AMA. Many people were on the call last night. Excuse me. It's been amazing. I said this to everybody in our group chat who's working with WAGMI, because just about every influencer that are in our circles is in some capacity working with WAGMI. And I mentioned something, and I obviously meant this wholeheartedly, and I think the team understood this. And I just said that, other teams need to really look at what WAGMI has built in the last 3 months and how they've went about it. Other dev teams can learn a lot from WAGMI. They've been nothing but top notch in terms of people to work with. Their approach has been brilliant. So many of these play to earn games are 8 to 12 months out, right? When they launch, and they focus on crypto first, which I think that's backwards. I don't think that's a good idea, right? Because now they're trying to basically take the GoFundMe approach, right? Kind of fund our project so we can do these big things. They didn't take that approach. WAGMI did it very differently, and I think the right way. They didn't market the product. They didn't market the game until it was very close to coming out, right? So we're going to get beta here coming up in the next week or so. We're going to be able to, have a game very, very soon after all the marketing happens. What I think happens a lot of times is these companies want to market and pump up the price of their product and coin or token, but then they're like, well, okay, we've done all this marketing, we've done all this big push, but now we have to wait for 8 to 10 to 12 months until we get a working product, right? So I don't think that's a good look. And I think WAGMI probably learned from those mistakes, and they've done it the right way, in my opinion, in every way possible. They're really focusing on the game first and the crypto second. If they do that, people will want to play the game even without the crypto element, right? And now that you're going to have the ability to actually play the game and earn passive income is going to be, I think just an added plus. And I think they understand that. But yeah, we're talking about the Feds potentially rate, the rates hiking up to 0.5%. There was another tweet that I liked. And by the way, guys, we're probably going to be joined at some point here this morning by the BTFA, one of the devs from BTFA. So that'll just be a nice organic conversation. We'll hop into that as soon as we're ready to go with that. But let's see here. There was something else that I liked that I wanted to get to. And let me see. There's a lot of stuff I actually liked here. Where the heck is it? Bear with me. I was liking a lot of stuff this morning here. Let's see. Oh, this is what it was related to WAGMI. So the other big piece of this, right, are the NFTs. Okay, the Genesis collection of NFTs. So our floor price now is at 0.4. That number has steadily risen over the past week or so. This floor price was about 0.25 a week ago. Now we're at 0.4. It'll be interesting to see what the floor price gets to as we get closer and closer to the game coming out. And then, of course, when the game is actually released, where it goes. But here was the tweet. Shout out to wagmigame.io for the tweet. Up to 0.4 ETH now at floor price. Looks like we will easily hit 100 ETH traded today, which will have WAGMI OpenSea verified. So that's another piece of the puzzle. Once you get verified on OpenSea, all of a sudden that opens the door for more and more people to see what's going on with the NFT collection. So that'll be another added bonus once we get verified there on OpenSea. So anyone want to buy my WAGMI NFT? 12 ETH. There you go, Muzz. Nice. That might be what they go for here in the near distant future. Muzz, who knows? I mean, these things, the NFT market is so hard to really understand, like what actually takes off and what doesn't, right? So it'll be interesting to see actually how high it gets. I think it could certainly get to a couple ETH relatively quickly, in my opinion. I've got 9 of the NFTs. I'm pumped about that. The passive income of holding the WAGMI Genesis NFTs is going to be crazy. That's the other big piece, right? The passive income from the WAGMI NFTs. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's why I wanted to get in and get as many as I could. I got them pretty late. But I was able to get 9 of them. Hey, Zach, can you look into Strange Inu? I've heard a little bit about it. I haven't really covered it much. I know a couple of YouTubers have been talking about it recently, and it's done some good things. But I will look into it a little bit. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I know they've grown pretty fast. So anybody who's been on that one early, congratulations. Hopefully you've taken some profits too as well. So, all right, guys, we are going to be joined here by the BTFA team member here. So I'm going to take you over to their Twitter page. Wow, what a launch that they had. And they had a really interesting approach, right? Because they went about it very differently than most in that, they only had a 40 ETH pre-sale. And I always look at kind of how companies do this, and they took an interesting approach. The 40 ETH pre-sale, it was gone super, super quick, right? And that created this pent-up demand in the actual launch right after. So, guys, without further ado, I want to welcome in somebody from the BTFA team. And guys, hit that like button. Make sure we get as many people in here as we can. And Sway, welcome to the broadcast, man. How we doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. We were just talking a little bit about the pre-sale and the way you guys went about it. Oh, I think he got disconnected here. Let me add Sway. There we go.
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah, man, we were just talking about the pre-sale. What made you guys do it that way? I mean, were you guys kind of taking notes on what's worked and what hasn't? Obviously, it was a great way to go about it.
Yeah, so it was old school marketing. It was something that was textbook that, really just supply and demand. If you set the supply very low but have a high demand for it, it will be able to overcome any type of volatility at that time you set that type of goal. So we decided the 40 ETH over 6 months ago when we decided to make Banana Task Force Ape. And we didn't believe that it was going to sell out so quickly, but because we set the demand so high by doing multiple AMAs back to back, having all of our utilities live, our CerTech audits, and actually our first CES listing, you know, it made it where we were on a spotlight for everybody to try to get into our project.
Definitely, man. So, everybody, this morning we are joined by a member of the BTFA team. Sway is joining us here this morning, and Sway, I mean, you guys obviously have only been around since April 4th, but man, it's been a really good launch. In let's face it, man, I mean, a tough market. So, how have you guys done it?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing we how we really did it was just being a project that actually that's not speculative. Like what we did was we want to be one of those projects that set a standard in this space when it comes to actually delivering, bringing out and being an actual utility token. So a lot of things with our project, this all came from, us playing for 7 months, our CerTech audits, our CES listings, our utility, our staking, our app, our ape wallet. All of this, we've been playing and got a little bit of marketing, you know, from our private investors and from us coming out of our pocket, where we were able to do a lot of things that a lot of projects didn't do. So for us to have this uptrend, and also it's really just from only us delivering and keeping our words on what we're actually going to do.
Great stuff, man. Hey, I do want to address the elephant in the room because a lot of people have the concern of, not being fully doxed. So I just want to open that conversation up. Do you guys plan on doxing? What's the reason behind that? If you don't, just let's just address that because I know people have that question.
Yeah, so we probably we might dox sometime later, but not anytime soon. And the crazy thing is, the best projects that are out in this space right now are actually the non-dox projects. The projects that deliver, have the community they that's like leading this space aren't doxed. And another reason why we aren't doxed because of our legal opinion. A lot of projects don't have it, but we actually are backed by Opera Hyde PC, which is our blockchain attorneys. So there's a couple steps that we need to follow because we are a U.S. team before we go through the procedures of being doxxed. But we are KYC'd over multiple platforms: Assure DeFi, Floyd's, Pink Cell. We're doxxed through David Goffstein, Goffstein Media, and soon to be Certec, because we have a huge interview with them in the next week or so.
Interesting. So is that interview, will that be public or is that like behind closed doors with Certic?
Yeah, so every because of Certec does believe in decentralization and also discrete, it happens behind closed doors.
Very cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool, man. I went out to the Bitcoin Miami conference and met somebody from Certic, and he's actually going to come on the channel and talk a little bit about, you know, their approach and how they become so big. I mean, it's kind of funny, right? I mean, like 2 years ago, not many people knew about Certic. Now it's like a must-have, right? It's like you got to check that box early. So the fact that you guys went about that and did some of these things early, like the Certic, like the exchanges, I think that's a really good idea. Rather than roll it out and then say these things are coming, you come out with, as you said, utility and checking these important boxes that investors want to see. So I got to ask you this too. So where's the main focus now, right? So I mean, everything is launched. We're about 16 days in, give or take. Where's the main focus right now for BTFA?
Yeah, so the main focus is still on our native token and actually also on our governance token, Bandex. So with Bandex, our governance token, if you hold our native token, BTFA, you will get a one of one of the Bandex token at launch. So that means if you have over 100 million, which is the minimum, when we launch, when you go to our contract, you could claim up to 10% of your airdrop daily in Bandex. So essentially, what we're trying to create an environment of diamond hands and holders, because if you're diamond handing our project or holding, you should be rewarded. And this is how we're going to be doing things from now to the future when it comes to incentives to our BTFA army.
Very
So
yeah.
yeah, so we're actually having our governance pre-sale soon on Pink Cell again for Ethereum and BNB, and that will pretty much supercharge our project BTFA, because as soon as we have it, we'll be doing a massive buyback on BTFA, and also adding half of that into liquidity. So, we're going to be doing some things where when Bandex launch is going to greatly benefit BTFA and itself. And also, we are working with over 12 exchanges to get BTFA and Bandex listed, because we could have been on 9 or 10 before actually our AMA with you, but we chose Bitmart, which was a little bit more on the expensive end.
Gotcha. So we're looking at the website right now. So right now, BTFA is available on, it looks like 4 exchanges, right? But you're saying many more are coming. Is that right? We're on 4 right now.
Yes.
Okay, so it's Hotbit, LBank, Bitmart, and XT. And in talking to developers, Sway, I mean, it's interesting because I feel like developers are always kind of balancing which exchanges to get on, when to get on them, because I know these things aren't free. And you're always kind of judging what's the best fit for our project. So what was that conversation like for you guys? Like why Hotbit? Why LBank? Why did you go with the 4 that you're on right now? Like how do you go through that process?
Yeah, well, strange enough, our audience is all American, like mostly American. So, majority of our investors are American. So we chose exchanges where, they were U.S. friendly, because some exchanges you're not able to trade on, and that would have limited our, accessibility when it came to um, keeping our investors, you know, going on these platforms. So we chose Hotbit because it was KYC friendly and US friendly. LBank is US friendly. Bitmart is US friendly, and XT is also US friendly.
Mhm.
So we chose those for our investors. And later down the line, when we talk to these exchanges like BitTrue, FTX, Mexi, Belixi, and stuff like that, we already will be, starting our marketing really heavy in Europe and Asia, Asia territories.
That's interesting. So was the goal to kind of start with the US market first and then branch out from there, or did it just kind of happen that way?
Yeah, well, the goal was to start in US first because it's extremely hard to, if you start a project, it would be your primary investors could end up being European and Asian, and it's harder to get those American investors. So we decided to do the opposite and work to get the American investors first, and then start leading us to get the European and Asian investors. Because it's harder to get people from America to invest in your project, but if you have them, you have a loyal group of people.
So I got to ask you this too. Great response here. That's interesting to get insight there. Why BTFA? Like, why did you kind of just go after the ape area because of how big it is right now? Uh, why this segment of the market?
Yeah, so if you look at our Certec audit was onboarded February 28th. That's way before any hype came around when it came to the ape, type of thing. Um, we've been working on this project for like 7 months.
Mhm.
So we pretty much didn't know. Well, I mean, I didn't know, but we didn't really know that we were getting into the hype of, kind of like the ape type of, space. But, since we are in it, we're probably one of the only projects that's in this space that actually have full working utilities, such as our ape wallet, which is our multi-chain wallet, which our multi-chain layer wallet. Um, our DEX, staking platform and stuff like that. So, you know, we really didn't know, we really didn't know. But one of our developers, Georgie, he just told us, like, hey, we should start working on this project. I got news on big things coming out soon in April. I got I got all the connections for us to have an amazing project. I feel like this project was set a standard. So let's start it. And me and another developer, we said, sure, let's do it. Because we were whales in other projects like Ship and stuff, and we ended up making money where we were just, happy and no longer working. So we want to do something where we can bring back that fun in the space and also make fun of those projects that, are speculative. So I guess everything happened at the right time for us.
I love hearing the story of so many developers who hit it big on Shib because I mean, as you know, Sway, I mean that's where I've really built my YouTube channel. I was talking about it way back early in 2021, and just like you, man, I mean, it's the reason why I quit my regular job, and I think that's a big story that goes beyond a single project. I mean, this is what crypto can provide for people. I mean, it's an entire lifestyle shift. It's something that is completely unseen in other places, how quick lives can change in this space. And can you just speak to that a little bit? I know it's not BTFA related, but I mean it's crypto related, man. And you guys are in the space, and I just love it, man, because it's helping so many people get out of doing things they don't want to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And when before I really got into crypto, I used to work at Apple, and I started off. I worked at Apple for 8 years, and I started off at a red zone sales manager level, all the way to business marketing and media. from retail locations all the way to Cupertino. So when COVID hit, it can't, and we were out of jobs and stuff. We didn't have anything to do. Apple gave us a $20,000 check, told us, we'll let you know when you're back. And at that point, I was into crypto like Bitcoin and stuff, but I started doing my own research, getting to other projects, and I found out about Ethereum. I found out about Doge, and I was like, you know what? I like this. I like this Doge coin. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
So I ended up putting 20,000 into Dogecoin, and I made like around $200,000. And it so I
Wow.
was like, whoa, like this is kind of cool. So I ended up getting to Ethereum. Then that led me into getting into like DeFi projects such as like Phantom, Matic, Woo, and then later down the line, Safe Moon, when it looked like a rug pull. When the website wasn't even done and anything, and I made a lot of good money from it, where I just never wanted to return back to work, because it was at that point I was able to start planning and prepping to get my own house. Um, and it was just the space was fun. And even when it comes to relations to my project BTFA, I feel like a lot of projects today have a handicap because it's a marketing wallet. You know, um, Back then in those communities, like the Shib, the Hawk, the Kishu, the Hoj, the Foge, Fat Doge, like those OG communities, there wasn't a marketing wallet to keep those communities sustainable. Only thing there was the community, and you had to get those donations. You had to get the community to grind to get you on exchanges. You had to make your project big enough where exchanges would just stealth list you on their platform.
Mm.
And that's what I want to bring to BTFA, that community where even though we are the underdogs right now, we'll build a level of community where our voice will be heard. We will prove ourselves through our utilities and through our hard work and dedication, where the marketing wallet is something that will help us, but if we have a strong community, then the sky's the limit.
It's great stuff. So anybody out there who's just tuning in, we are joined by Sway this morning from BTFA. Keep your questions rolling in. We are going to shift over now and take some questions from everybody. So we're going to start with Luke's question here on screen here, Sway. Is BTFA going to make a game or get into the metaverse? What are the plans for that?
Yeah, so we're not gonna make a game, just because a lot of people don't know, but it costs a lot of money to make P2E games, and then it takes a lot of experience, and that's not our. We don't have experience in that, and if we want to make a P2E game, we want to spend over hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it. We don't just want to make a 2D game where it looks old school or anything. We want to make a full-fledged game if we go P2E. But as of right now, we probably won't. But once we launch our NFTs and from our treasury, we will be getting into the metaverse, and we will be contributing around $300,000 split three ways into the Shiba Inu metaverse, the Bored Ape metaverse, and acquiring land on NFT worlds, where we will build secret hideouts and locations where we will have virtual meetups and concerts on those platforms.
Very cool. That's great stuff. Kat's got a good question. How does the BTFA team plan to stimulate long-term and organic growth as other projects arrive on the scene? I think this is a great question. So many new tokens, right, Sway, coming to the market. How is BTFA going to stay relevant amid all these new projects?
Yeah, so we're not really worried about relevancy because a lot of things we have in a pipeline have been already planned over months ago. We are working with the Everrise team. We reached out to them probably like a month before our pre-sale for BTFA, where we will be doing um, our bridge with them with Bandex, and also our our contract of our native token. So, and with that being said, too, because we have so many things properly planned, when we release when we release our NFT collection, our NFT collection will be owned by our company Blip Studios. And with our company Blip Studios, it will be NFT related and cryptocurrency related, but we will be hosting events when it comes to live minting auctions, silent minting auctions, coin tiered events for our holders, meaning that if you hold a certain amount of tokens, we will have live events and virtual events where you have free access to, and we'll be hosting concerts and actually creating our own gaming team to compete in competitive gaming. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to set a stage for our cryptocurrency, to be the launch pad for our NFT project, and also to our company, where our company can be the pioneer when it comes to the first back project that's into the entertainment industry, competitive gaming, and also charity.
Very cool. Luke's got another question, and then I want to ask you about Bandex after we address this one, and maybe what that pre-sale looks like. Will it be 40 ETH again? I think that was something a lot of people were interested in. But Luke says, are you guys going to eventually make your own blockchain? Have you thought about that? Is that something that comes later?
Yeah, so we were thinking about making our own blockchain, but right now we're just gonna be moving, moving at our speed when it comes to our utilities, because our blockchain, we want to hire some of the best developers to be able to take on that feat, once we start entertaining that. But we will be talking to some of the developers on post chain soon, where we will be integrating our project on post chain. And I know that they were behind Hex and stuff like that. So, you know, we have some news coming out. We'll have some news coming out following our AMA and private conversation with those developers. And you might see us on post chain and even something bigger.
Very nice. All right, so let's go back over to Bandex token real quick. What's this pre-sale going to look like? Is it 40 ETH again? I mean, that works, man.
So we're gonna do ETH and BSC for Bandex, and our snapshot for Bandex will be sometime in the mid next week. So sometime around the middle of next week, that's when we'll be doing our snapshot for our BTFA holders. But for our pre-sale for Ethereum, it will be 100 Ethereum pre-sale. So minimum is zero point 0.1 Ethereum, max is zero point 0.5 Ethereum. Our pre-sale for Binance will be also 800 BNB, which is equivalent to 100 BNB. I mean 100 Ethereum, and that's zero point 0.1 BNB to 4 BNB.
Okay.
And we will be doing some stealth launches. I won't say the time because it will be super random, but we will be doing stealth launches of our Phantom and Avalanche contract around the exact same time of our pre-sale. So we're doing this too, so we can have um, four chains out, and we can be one of the first projects other than Everrise that has a multi-chain bridge.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have a partnership with Everrise too, and brand ambassador with them. Just an amazing team. They're making DeFi safer in so many ways, and their DApps are just sick. So I was pumped to see you guys team up with them. Just a great group of people over there and great team. So that's good stuff, man. Cash wants to know, can we expect some top tier exchanges? You kind of hinted at some of the ones coming. I know you probably can't say everything right now. I get it, but any insight on that?
Yeah, so we was gonna list on FTX, but if we listed on FTX, that would have killed our marketing wallet. And FTX is one of the top five exchanges. So let's just say one of our XT is amazing exchange. It was in top five when it came to volume. So has Bitmart. It was top 10 when it came to volume. We do have goals on listing on a couple of top tier exchanges. We are actually working with Bitmart. We're working with Bitmart legal team, where they're helping us establish our bank accounts and stuff overseas so we can qualify for these top tier exchanges, because a lot of people don't know, but for you able to get listed on top like these real big exchanges, you have to have a crypto friendly bank that's work with a lot of these tier exchanges like um, Binance, Coinbase and stuff like that. So we're working with we're working with a legal team that was provided to us from Bitmart as well, where they're helping us get that established so we can be ready for those top tier exchanges. But we're thinking at Mexi. We're talking to the people at Mexi right now. BitTrue. Um, shit, it's a lot of exchange. We're talking to a lot of exchanges where now only thing we're thinking about, like, who should we pick first at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who should we list on? Like, should we list on here? Should we wait to list on there? Because our goal is, if we list on an exchange, we want to list on one of the biggest, where every other exchange would just list us for free.
Right. And when you're going through that process, are you looking at like, okay, this exchange kind of is better in this segment of the market, this exchange kind of hits this demographic, or these, are you kind of looking at that and thinking, okay, which markets do we want to hit strategically? Or are you looking more at like other things related to that exchange? Or I'm sure price is a factor too, because all these exchanges, none of them are free. I get that too.
Yeah. So essentially, we get the best deals on exchanges because even though we are a new team in the space, we have a lot of connections when it comes to like exchanges and everything. So we essentially get the best prices amongst exchanges and pretty much a lot of things where we're fortunate to get a lot of stuff done at a quickly matter. So, it's really honestly about what geographic, target that we want to hit, and also what type of countries want to hit, because some exchanges are geared towards one country, some exchanges are favorite to one, but we're actually in a process of hiring a marketer that has done marketing for like Shinja, Baby Doge, Floki, and they're gearing us to like the market of European and Asia Pacific. So the next exchanges that we're going to be getting listed on will be more European and Asian based.
Mhm. So anybody out there who's just popping on, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know down below if you have questions for Sway from BTFA, which is now live on XT Exchange. This news just coming out this morning at 9 o'clock. So let me see here if I've got anything else here. Cash has another one. Now, this is an interesting question. I know you guys are a little bit different than the investor standpoint, right? But investors are always wondering, how high is this thing going to go? When is it going to hit this market cap? From the developer side, I mean, I know you're an investor too, but you're kind of in a different role as a dev team. But do you look at it like, do you put milestones on it? Like, hey, we want to hit this market cap 3 months in, and we want to have this much daily volume for a span of a month. Do you analyze things like that, or you just kind of stay day to day? And how does that look on your end?
Yeah, so I mean, personally, my goal for the next 2 months is to hit 100 million market cap. I know, and that's extremely easy for us to do, um, because we have so much utility. We have a lot of people talking about us, and in leading into May, we're going to be onboarding a lot of influencers that kind of move the market. So my goal is 100 million in the next 2 months. And my expectations is for us to be a 500 million to $1 billion project by next year, because we have everything that can pretty much get us the really target that price point. And we do this by just honestly working extremely hard when it comes to actually delivering and being one of those projects with real utility. So, a lot of people see it and a lot of people want to be on board. We are going to be working with a marketer who did marketing for a lot of big projects, and currently the face of one project that's doing extremely well that I can't name. And we will be working with Goffstein, with David Goffstein and his camp to really push our project too, because they like it as well. So, their eyes is 100 million to 500 million. My eyes is 500 million to a billion, and the other developers, let's just say, not financial advice.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's good. I mean, I think you have to be kind of striving towards something, and sitting right now at an $8.2 million market cap. But I mean, you guys have been as high, it looks like, as almost 18 million at the peak here back on April the 11th, about 11 days ago. So, I mean, I could see $100 million market cap in the future here. I mean, this has been a really successful launch, man. And again, I commend you guys because it's not easy right now. I mean, the market is very choppy. It's hard to sustain success after a successful launch. Even as successful as your launch is, it's so hard to sustain that. We've seen it with new projects. So I think the way you guys have went about it has obviously worked. And man, I'm really looking forward to continuing to watch your guys' growth, and happy to be putting eyeballs on your project too. And I did the review video, was super impressed with the pre-sale, man. Just really, I thought that was brilliant how you guys did it. And then an hour later went public. You created all this pent up demand, because what did it sell out this way? I mean, it was like 20 seconds or some shit, right? It was crazy.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying it's like this next pre-sale is going to be around like 30 seconds.
I can see it, man. I mean, even with, you said 100 ETH, right? I mean, I could see it, man. I think people now know the brand, they know the name. And then, people are going to want to get into this as well, because they saw how well you guys did with this first launch, man. So I commend you guys.
Yeah. And, the crazy thing is, Zach, is with Bandex, people don't know, but not only are you getting a 1 of 1 if you hold 100 million tokens of BTFA, but, the issue really why we went down to 18 million to, well, around 17, 18 million to 8 million is because our liquidity, and when Bandex launch, we will be supercharging our liquidity by doing a massive buyback, and then pairing those tokens that we bought back into liquidity, where essentially our liquidity will be doubled. So that's be a driving factor that's going to push us back to that price of like 12 to 13 million. But one of the key tokenomics of Bandex is 2% of every transaction of Bandex goes into reflections of BTFA, which means that our smart contract will be acquiring BTFA and reflecting it to our Bandex holders. And then another 2% of every transaction goes into buying BTFA and burning it.
Nice.
So that means it'll be making BTFA hyper deflationary. And if a lot of people think about it, we did around 2.5 million in volume for the first 2 days. We're thinking that we'll be doing double that. And if you do the math of that 2%, well, that 4% of that volume going into BTFA is going to be a major spike in BTFA, because that's almost over $175,000 to $200,000 in volume just getting distributed back to our native token just from our from our governance. And half of that volume will be burning our tokens. So essentially, we will have around 250,000 being burned just from Bandex of BTFA.
That's super, super interesting. And, I think this is something that a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of learned from the Shiba Inu ecosystem with the governance token and Bone, right? Is that kind of a fair assessment, do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's a good decision, man. And I think how you have it set up where, you're not, because people sometimes have this idea in their head. It's like, oh, there's another token in the ecosystem. It's going to take away from the native token, right? But it's not like that at all. It's actually adding to, as you said, with the buyback.
Yep. And the thing is too is with Bandex wallet, marketing wallet on each chain, that's really BTFA's marketing wallet. So it's supporting it's supporting each project, and Bandex is really that support. It's really that support token and also that governance token for BTFA when it comes to our floor and when it comes to actually, promoting decentralization by giving the community the right to make proposals that can either change our ecosystem or our utilities that we make.
Awesome. So here's one from somebody out there. Did he say 1-for-1 token to your wallet between BTFA and Bandex if you hold over 100 million BTFA?
Yes. So yeah. So if you hold over 100 million, we will set it in the contract where you will automatically have 100 million or more in Bandex. The only thing is to prevent like volatility, like with like dumping and stuff, you will have to claim 10% of that daily through our contract.
Gotcha. There you go. Moti, thank you so much for that $20 donation. It looks like you got a big supporter there in Moti. So congratulations to everybody, man, who got into this project early. And, it's been a great new project. Again, amid this market, amid the ups and downs, the choppiness of it, man, this has been a really good project to be in. And guys, I want to break down Bandex real quick because we're going to hear more on this front, Sway, next week, right? Is when we're projected. Okay. So it's an ERC20 governance token, guys. That's a fair launch in April, coming up in about a week or so. Main functionality, again, is to keep the chart healthy for the liquidity and also going to be used to manually sweep and support the floor of BTFA. Again, a governance token. Basically has that floor support and, far less volatile than the native token. So it'll become a multi-chain staking token accessible on Phantom, Binance, Polygon, and maybe even some others down the road, right, Sway?
Yep.
Awesome.
And yeah, and with Bandex, when it comes to our NFT, so one thing a lot of projects haven't done is they haven't really hit the in the NFT space when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But what we have been doing is we have been working with some of the biggest blue chip project developers on bringing awareness to our NFT collection, because when we release our NFTs, we want to automatically have our NFTs go for 2 to 3 to 10 Ethereum. After a few weeks of us launching. And the thing is, we're not setting our NFTs at a very high price. We're setting our NFTs at $180 plus gas. And a lot of these projects that we're going to be collaborating with that are certified on OpenSea, they like this because, a lot of projects now, they charge $500, $1,000 to mint. And we're going back to the old school days where we're charging a price where everyone can get in. So when we release our NFTs, which will be 10,000 NFTs that are with over 200 traits, not only are we going to be giving all our investors and new members a good price on getting into our NFTs, but we will also be working with a couple blue chip projects when it comes to collaborations. And with our governance token, Bandex, 2% of every transaction from Bandex goes into supporting the floor of our NFTs. And how does it do that? It does it by buying our NFTs at market price weekly and sending them to the Burn wallet, which will, in hindsight, not only make our native token hyper deflationary, but also our NFT collection deflationary, which we will be the first to do.
That's interesting. That's great stuff. And I love that you're keeping at a very fair price. You're right. I mean, so many of these projects coming out, just they're squeezing people right out of there because it's like $500-$600 to get in. And it's like, oh man, that's too much. I mean, this is feasible. I love the idea of the 2% but here's one. Speaking of the 2%, it's a little different route. Luke says investors, and this is just his opinion, they might rather have a bigger burn percentage or a bigger marketing percentage instead of the 2% reflections. Do you have thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on reflections in general, from a dev person's standpoint, man? I think that's an interesting question. I think a lot of people have reflections versus burn. Do you need both? Is one better than the other?
Yeah. So in hindsight, because our contract, in hindsight, because our contract is our governance contract, it works with being both. It works with honestly being both a buyback system, a burn system, and a reflection system for BTFA. So we pretty much have the best of both worlds. And what we want to do is, if some people did not get into BTFA, we want to still give them the incentives as if you hold our governance token, you'll get reflections, and what you will be able to do with those reflections, you can be able to stake them on our platform. So if a project does get reflections in their native token, it has to be something of use. And because we're giving reflections, you know, because we're giving it, you can put it up in our staking votes, make some passive income, and you can even stake our governance token, because we're trying to build like a degen system where if you have our governance, you lock it up, you still earning reflections on your token, and then what you're going to do with your BTFA, you can either sell it, or you can just stake it up. You can stake it too, where now you're making passive income on the governance token that you bought, and making passive income on the reflections that you keep accumulating.
Very interesting. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So reflections are useful. Your reflections are good. It's only if they have some type of utility around them that will benefit the investor.
Good stuff. Guys, we're just we're winding down here with Sway from BTFA. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back and listen to this full interview. Some really interesting things about the future of BTFA, where they're going, what they're trying to build here. And Sway, it's been a lot of fun this morning, man. I usually close it out by asking you, was there something that you wanted to talk about that I didn't maybe ask, that is anything related to the project that we didn't get to hit on?
Yeah, sure. So the last thing that I want to say is one unique thing about our NFTs and the longevity of our project is, with our NFTs, we will be registering. We will be registering our NFT collection with the SEC as a utility, because a lot of people don't know, but the SEC is cracking down on NFT collections, where you have to end up registering with those proper channels, or if you will become a security. So that's some things that we're going to be doing our due diligence on, to establish that we're here for the long term for our investors. And then the next thing is, if you hold our NFTs, not only will you get access to like future make collections and things that we do when it comes to Blip Studios, but 20% of our revenue that's earned from Blip Studios will be distributed to all of our NFT holders in Ethereum. So
Wow.
yeah, so if we do 100,000 in revenue generated the first month, 20% of that, which is 20,000, will be distributed amongst all of our NFT holders.
It's great stuff, man. Sway, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hang back here as soon as we end the broadcast. I just want to touch base with you real quick. Thanks so much again, man. I really appreciate it. I think this was super informative for people to hear, and let's definitely do it again, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. All right, everybody. I will see you all in the next one. Modi, thank you so much for the donations too. Zach, BTFA family, love you, brother. Love right back to you, man. Thank you all so much for the super chats this morning. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back. I got a video coming out here in about a half hour. I'll be back probably live later as well. So again, BTFA, if you haven't heard about it, it's time you hear about it. Go back and listen to this full interview and really learn about what they're doing and what they're building here. And again, thanks so much, Sway. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I will see you all in the next video.